YouTube people, can we just get like 48 hours without something crazy going on? My goodness, 2022 and the hashtag hobby has been a wild ride so far. We opened the year with fanatics purchasing tops right out the gate, and the ball has been rolling down the hill ever since. That was actually like good/positive news. At least we kind of assume that it is, but who knows? From there, and I'm probably going to miss something because I feel like the list is so freaking long at this point. We had the $3.5 million case of G.I. Joe cards. We had the Backyard Clown Show not giving away a gold Kaboom Prism. People selling fake cards at Dallas, getting tackled in the hallway. The angry mob chanting with pitchforks and torches, coming at these people, right, wrong, or indifferent, with no facts in the case. I mean, it ended up that those guys didn't seem like the greatest people, but a lot of shady shit went down there, both on the side of the people doing the shady stuff and the mob mentality that broke out immediately. You know, Card Collector 2 talked about it on the latest Card Talk pod. And, you know, we'll get to some situations with that separate later. And now, you know, we have the whole Marx Cards situation. So for those not familiar, and I'm not super familiar with Marx Cards, I've never used that. Well, I shouldn't say I never used them. I indirectly use them. I'll get to that in a minute. I've never personally used them directly. I've heard of them before. I've never had any interactions with them, never met them, never watched any of their content, don't follow them on IG. But they are located in Southern California and are one of the largest PSA group submitters in the hobby. And what has happened? Well, it appears, by all accounts, rumors, etc., the IGs, this was posted to their Instagram page, so we could take this at face value, that they are getting paid up front for their PSA submissions and did not actually pay PSA for the cards. So PSA would say your cards are done, and then all of a sudden they're like, sure, we'll be down next week to grab those. Yeah. So Marx Cards is not paying their bill to PSA. You know, PSA, I assume at some point in time steps in. This is the stuff that we don't really know, so I don't want to get too much in the speculation town. But the gist of it is Marx was the biggest group submitter, Marx Cards, to PSA. At some point in time, they stopped paying their bill. At some point in time, PSA said, well, you're not getting these cards unless you pay the bill. But the problem is the customers all paid up front, so they've already paid for all these cards to be graded, and then Marx Cards took that money essentially as an interest-free loan and went, and we don't really know what they used it for. I don't want to speculate, but they maybe just opened up a brand new card shop earlier this year and some other things. So, you know, who knows? Who knows? We don't know. It's rumor, speculation, innuendo. We don't know. We don't know. The side angle from this is that other shops and entities were using Marx Cards as a group submitter for themselves. We mentioned it earlier, Card Collector 2 really this has been kind of smoking for a hot minute. Ryan from Card Collector 2 kind of brought it to the light today because he was one of the shops/people/entities that were using Marx Cards as his group submitter. So you would group submit to Ryan. Ryan would then bundle them up, send them off to Marx Cards. Marx Cards would then drop them off at PSA for Ryan, essentially working as like a middleman to the middleman. And then, you know, ship the cards back, you know, this, that, the other thing. So essentially what happened, which kind of brought this to light is that Ryan's Card Collector 2's customers' cards were locked away at PSA and not being released because they needed to be paid for, but Ryan had already collected the money from customers and paid Marx Cards, but where the money went, nobody knows. So to get the cards out of jail, essentially, Ryan flew to PSA, paid for them out of pocket, brought them back, and got them distributed to his customers. This is the exact opposite. Last week, we had the situation with the Backyard Clowns. They showed you how to completely ruin your reputation in the hobby in about under 5 minutes. They said that $20,000, basically, because that's what they valued the card at when they didn't want to give it away, was worth their hobby reputation as a tandem, an entity, a brand, whatever. Because whether they bounce back or not, maybe they do. They're obviously still going to exist, but they essentially said our reputation is worth less than $20,000. They would rather have the $20,000 than a clean reputation in the hobby. What Ryan did is the exact opposite. He said, I screwed up. I got in bed with this. This is essentially my fault. I need to do what's right for my customers, my brand, etc. And flew to PSA and cut them a check for over $100 and some $1,000 with maybe the hopes that he would get paid back. Who knows? Who knows how that'll all play out? But Ryan essentially had to pay a second time for all these grading submissions, but he was willing to do that because, like as he said in his video, and I highly encourage you guys and girls to go watch the Instagram live that he did. It was a 20-minute video, well worth the watch. It flew by. Essentially said, I had to do this to take care of my customers. It's not my customers' fault that this happened. I need to do what's right by them. And he did. And for him, he paid $100,000, over $100,000, because that was the right thing to do. Because Ryan, it seems like, was not the only shop that was doing this. There was some screenshots going around. I don't want to get into all of them because screenshots from Instagram and Facebook groups and etc. But essentially the gist is there are more stores like this that have submitted cards to PSA through their local group submitter, who is then using Marx Cards to submit for them. And, reading through a thread on the blowout forums, there are people that submitted directly to Marx and Marx Cards. And now everyone's kind of stuck in limbo. I mean, Ryan's people aren't, because Ryan flew out there and basically paid the bill and got the cards back. But everybody else, at least from the best of what I could tell, is kind of stuck in no man's land of, where are we in this whole situation? Am I getting my cards back? Are they going to be graded? Are they raw? Who's paying for them? How is this all going to work? There was some emails displayed on a blowout thread once again from PSA, essentially saying they're working through the situation. Ryan said in his IG live that PSA doesn't want to really screw anyone over here, so they're going to try to figure something out as well. It sounds like Marx Cards is going into bankruptcy, as you could see up on the screen here. That's really not exactly what you want to see. They have disabled IG comments on everything, essentially gone dark. So I don't know what's going on with that. There was a lot of concerned comments on the blowout forums of basically something that goes like this. I have high-end cards that I submitted through Marx. I would really like to know where those cards are and how they are getting back into my hands. So there's still a lot of things to get flushed out here. Unfortunately, and I don't even think this is a hot take or that bold of a prediction, this is probably not the last time we will see something like this. I am sure there is other shenanigans going on. There always is. But I have to imagine there are other, whether it's a group submitter or whatever, this is not going to be the last of hobby drama. We've literally had 2 to 3 things a week since the beginning of the year. I don't think it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. We will see what happens, but I don't know. 2022 has been a mess so far. Every other post is some sort of nonsense and shenanigans and tomfoolery going on in the hobby. And it's just man, can we just get back to looking at cards and flipping some cards and, whatever, sending cards to grade and get back cool submissions? Do I have to keep making these videos? I've had a comic book investing 101 video about my process for choosing which grade I buy on older stuff. It's been recorded for 2 weeks. I recorded it, I think actually maybe 3 weeks ago. I think I recorded that before the new year. And it's just been sitting. I have to keep pushing it back because shenanigans keep happening. I can't tell you how many times I have moved that one individual video because something else has happened. Some of it good, some of it bad. Some of it's, hey, PSA announced this thing. Cool, let me get a video out about it. Hey, this thing over here happened. Cool, let me get a video about it. Let me just move this one back because it's not super time sensitive. And then it's, oh, people did really dumb things. I got to make a video about it. Oh my goodness. It's just never ending. And probably with no end in sight. So we'll see what the next thing that happens. This is a very unfortunate situation, obviously, if you have submitted cards through Marx Cards. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of excellent group submitters out there. I'm sure that there are, but whatever group submitter you use, and anyone using a group submitter, like I said, I typically don't. The only reason why I use CC2 that one time was because I could drop off in person. That part was appealing to me. I understood. I was like, oh, this is, yeah, a drop off. Perfect. I don't got to ship anything. Awesome. One less shipping interaction that I have to have, the more likely or the less likely things are to go haywire. So I understood that aspect of it. But if you're shipping it off to another group submitter, I get it that you could save a little bit of money. But the way that I've always approached this is I would rather just pay a couple extra bucks myself and know that I am in full control as much as I can be in regards to submitting cards. I will be curious to see, just like the backyard clowns, how much did that affect people's view on breaking? Did that give breaking as a whole a black eye? I don't really know because I don't break. I've never done a break before in my life. It's just not something I have any desire to do. Did that give all of breaking a black eye? Did every person look at breakers a little differently the next day? You know what I mean? Like, would my guy pull that? I'm sure a lot of people were like, would this guy that I break with do something like that? And they might have honestly answered themselves, you know what? No, I don't think that he would. But I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be doing the same thing with their group submitters over the next couple days. Would my group submitter do something like this? Or I bet you a lot of group submitters get questions this weekend about, hey, so like when I give my cards to you, you're sending them straight to grading company X, Y, or Z, correct? They're not going to like another third party and then they're submitting them for you, right? So I just have a feeling a lot of questions like this are going to be asked. And I do wonder if at least temporarily, if group submitters as a whole have to kind of like re-earn everyone's trust, even if they've done nothing wrong. I have to imagine at least some people are going to pause and be like, you know what? This batch, I think I'll just send those on my own. I get it if it's, maybe lower end stuff, send to the group submitter, let them handle it. But if it's like if you have like a really, really nice card, if you have something really, really high end, do you really care about saving a few extra bucks on the grading fee for a 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, $100,000 card? Like, if you're that concerned about saving $100 on a grading fee on a super high end card, what are you doing? Wouldn't you rather just have the peace of mind to send it yourself? Either way, you got to mail it somewhere, most likely. If you could drop it off to someone that could drop off in Southern California, you could just done that yourself. So, yeah. Wild times once again in the hashtag, the hobby 2022. Let's see if we could go more than a week. Or can I get like a good news story? Can someone send me that? Could I get like a comment with something? I saw something going around about people trying to give cards to kids. Can we get some motivation behind that? Something. I need something. Good news doesn't get the clicks and views like bad news does. I don't even care at this point. I just want happy times. Happy times. Can we get happy times? We'll see. As the money continues to exit the hobby and the greed has really shown itself the last few weeks here. Man, just ugly times. That's all I have for you, boys and girls, today. Like, comment, subscribe. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.